series.
Welcome to a series.
Welcome to a series that I started as a fun and creative way to build my book collection to my personal goal
of 1,000 books. Welcome back to Romance and Rosé, where we exclusively read romance and hardly ever drink rosé. If you follow me over on my other social medias, you might be familiar with a series I started over 12 weeks ago called Barnes and Hopeful, where every Friday I go into my Barnes & Noble with a $25 budget, have a random letter generator tell me what book titles I'm allowed to look for, and I can only pick up 5 titles before I must decide or go home empty-handed. It is super fun. I look forward to it every week, but it is a vertical series that I only post over on my TikTok and Instagram. I am thinking about uploading it to YouTube though, in groups of 3, like episode 1, 2, 3, episode 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and just until we're all caught up, just for the YouTube fan to be able to be in the know with. Let me know if that's something you'll be interested in, because it is something that obviously you will have to view vertically. So we'll see. I'm still thinking about it. It would be really easy to do. But the point of this week's video is to go over all the books that I have acquired in the 12 weeks of doing the series. Way back in the beginning of spring, I heard that a lot of serious book collectors kind of feel like amongst themselves, you can't really give your home library the title of being an actual library till your collection has exceeded the count of 1,000 books. And although I really believe that no matter how many books you have, you can call it a library if you want. It's your library. It gave me the idea to want to count how many books I actually do own. And in our tiny 2-bedroom apartment, barely over 1,000 square feet, we have still somehow managed to house a little over 750 books. And I thought to myself, when I started my book talk, I had maybe 30 or 40 physical books, and that was like 4 years ago. That is how rapidly I have built my collection. And so I said, bet. I 100% am going to exceed 1,000 books, probably sometime in the next year or 2. And I thought it would be a little bit more fun to document a series of my journey trying to meet those goals. And that's where Barnes and Hopeful has come in. So without further introduction, let's get into the books. I'm gonna go through these in order of episode. My very first week, I drew the letter F and ended up picking up 15th Summer by Michelle Dalton. I have yet to read this. It is on my summer TBR. It's supposed to be a super cute, swoony, YA, first love type of summer romance. Chelsea isn't looking forward to her summer at the lake. It's the first time her family has been there since her grandmother died, and she can't break out of her funk, but her summer takes a turn for the better when she meets a boy who works in a bookstore. Josh is cute, sweet, and funny, and best of all, he seems to like her as much as she likes him. As the days pass by, in a blur of boat rides, picnics, and stolen kisses, she can't believe how lucky she is. No one has ever made her feel so special or beautiful. But Chelsea knows her days with Josh are numbered. She'll be heading home at the end of the summer, and he'll be staying behind. Will this be Chelsea's summer of love, or will it be the summer of her broken heart? I've said it once, I'll say it again. Because this is classified as YA and not a romance, it very well might be the summer of her broken heart. YA bitches like to gut the public. They're sadists, I tell you. But you know what? Call me a masochist, because a lot of the times, I eat it up. The next episode, I had special guest bestie Sarah, and we both drew the letter I. And I picked up If You Stayed by Brittany Cherry. This is supposed to be like a super emotional, like amnesia trope second chance. There was once a man who loved me until he forgot every memory we ever shared. Gabriel Sinclair will forever be my first best friend, my first love, my first kiss, my first heartbreak. I love first anything. Whenever a romance starts with, he was my first blank, chokehold. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that my husband, Mr. Rosé, has a lot of my first because we met in 6th grade. The accident that nearly took his life ripped the memory of me from his grasp. And for the last few decades, I've let the guilt of that terrible night keep us apart. It took me years to make peace with the fact that he would no longer be in my life. So when he shows up as the architect for my new home, my world is tossed upside down. Nothing good can come from us, but I can't help but wonder what would have happened if this time he stayed. Yeah, that right there is my catnip. For episode 3, the letter E, we grabbed Everything I Promised You by Kate Upperman. This is another case of the YA angst got me good. What comes after heartbreak? Leah and Beck and Leah. Despite army brat life orbiting them in and out of each other's world, Leah knows they're destined to be together. It's more than their friendship and chemistry. When Leah's mom was a teen, a fortune teller said her daughter would fall in love with her best friend's son. Leah and Beck were always meant to be, or so they thought. When tragedy steals Beck away, Leah is devastated. She's lived her life by her mom's old fortune. If she was fated to be with Beck, and he's gone, Who is she supposed to be, and is there room in her broken heart for life, let alone new love? Here's what I think is intriguing to me about premises like this that sounds so sad. I am not in general a deeply emotional person. Like, yes, I do feel for people and I love very deeply and fully, but I don't get like sad or cry very often. And so if a book is so devastating that you can get tears running down my face, it actually feels very therapeutic and cathartic to be able to like let out those sad emotions that are actually like really hard for me to allow myself to feel sometimes organically. I'm not saying it's healthy, but it is what it is. Probably a conversation best suited for me and a therapist. For episode 4, we drew the letter N, and I never thought I would pick up another Jessa Hastings book after Magnolia Parks. Genuinely, she pissed me off so hard with that one. But when I was at Barnes & Noble, someone clocked me looking at this and said, that's a Peter Pan retelling. And you know what? She got me. She got me with that one. Unfortunately, she hadn't read it, so she couldn't tell me if it was good. And when I went to Goodreads to investigate, some people say it was really fun, really whimsical, and then 50% of people like really hated it and said that it was hot garbage. But call me a book cover slut, I thought the book cover was so pretty, especially compared to the other books that I had already picked for N. So we shall see. Never is an awfully long time. Growing up, Daphne always knew Peter Pan would come for her, the way he'd come for her mother, her grandmother, and Wendy before that. The darling girls. Their story are all the same. The forever young boy at their window after their 13th birthday, and the shimmering magical land behind the star. When Peter doesn't show for Daphne until she's 17, inexplicably full-grown and with no excuse for his tardiness, Daphne doesn't know what to think. Still, she's always been told that Peter Pan is her destiny. It's beyond choice to take his hand and leap into the stars, no matter what comes next. But in Neverland, Peter's true colors begin to show. One moment he's making Daphne's heart flutter, the next he's forgotten her entirely. So when Daphne stumbles into the path of Jameson Hook, the pirate son of Peter's nemesis, she lets herself get swept up in his vulgar charm despite the warning signs. Both boys are trouble, and both have dangerous secrets about the strange fantasy land they call home. And if she loses her heart to either one, Daphne might just lose herself too. I'm probably not going to get around to this one till after the summertime, so keep an eye out on my reading wrap-ups because I will definitely let you guys know when I get around to it what I think. Episode 5, we drew the letter G, and it was the first week of many that I came home with not just one, but 2 books. Given by Elena R. Gallia and Good for Her by Taylor Page. Given is supposed to be like a dark romantasy, and Good for Her is supposed to be a dark rom-com that has inspiration from like Butcher and Blackbird and the Mindfuck series. Both books that I adore. Hollywood loves a comeback. Too bad Evie Rise didn't come to play nice. 5 years ago, she watched her mother, an iconic Final Girl, die on the set of Simon Says. Now she's back on the same studio lot, cast as the lead in the reboot no one asked for. But Evie's not here for fame. She's here for revenge, and she's got 6 names on her list. Sebastian Shaw is Hollywood's golden boy, a walking six-pack with strange enough charm to disguise the fact that he's a professional liar. He also happens to be Evie's ex. When he finds out why she's really back, he doesn't try to stop her. He offers a deal. He'll get her access to each of the men she wants to confront in exchange for 6 chances to sleep with her. No feelings, no strings, definitely no dates. As bodies pile up and the on-set accidents get harder to explain away, Evie walks a razor-thin line between staying alive and getting justice. And Sebastian, he might be the only person who sees her clearly, and the one person she can't afford to trust. This final girl isn't just surviving, she's stealing the whole damn show. A young woman is hunted by a handsome stranger she could surely fall for, if only he weren't her sworn enemy. Okay, Slay. Ren has always known she's a given, marked by the gods to serve them in her 20th year, and she accepts this honor eagerly because they keep the kingdom safe. But then she sneaks into her best friend's giving ceremony and watches as Amelia is slaughtered right before her eyes. Horrified, Ren escapes to her village under the cover of darkness. Her plan is simple: flee the kingdom, stay alive, and it's working until she stumbles upon an injured, unconscious, beautiful man in the woods. Unwilling to leave him to die, she heals him. Only when he wakes, she realizes he's a hunter and his prey, her. Marked ones must return to the gods, it's the law, but now he's in Ren's debt, inexplicably drawn to her and caught in a moral quandary. He gives her a gift, 1 day's head start, so despite their connection, all Ren can do is run, and when the hunter catches her, she'll do whatever it takes to get away again. I'm also pretty sure that this is the first book in a series, and I am anticipating a brutal cliffhanger. But again, these books are giving more fall, spooky season vibes, so I haven't cracked them just yet. Episode 6, we got the letter C. And this is actually the first and only week I have walked away with no books. And honestly, I think looking back, it was really just my mood. Something about the time of day, how my body felt, where my headspace was at. I was in Barnes & Noble for like 2.5 hours trying to figure out which 5 books that started with the letter C I wanted to pick up. And once I did, I was like, oh, I can live without all of these books. I don't have to have any of them. So I just walked out, and it probably won't be the last time that happens. But what I will say is since then, hunting for other letters, I have seen so many other books that start with the letter C. And I said, wait, where was this book when I was looking for C's? Because if I ever redraw a C, I'm circling back to those. But I more than made up for it in episode 7 with special guest baby sister Rose. We both drew the letter L. And I came home with not 1, but again 2 books. The Lovers by Kristen Cast and Love Me, Stalk Me by Laura Bishop. I dropped a sticker. Is this book not so cute? With the strawberry sprayed edges. It's also a signed edition because Kristen Cast is an Oregon local, and it came with spicy art. Oh, what a steal. 1 enchanted tarot card, 2 infuriatingly hot men, and a modern woman who refuses to be anyone's damsel. Gemma Summers is broke, burnt out, and about 3 weeks from moving back in with her parents, okay? Girl's got it rough. Her career has imploded, her confidence is circling the drain, and the last thing she needs is a run-in with Alter Hawk, the dangerously charming ex who still haunts her dreams and could buy her a new life with just pocket change. Okay, we like them rich. When a magical tarot card sends them spiraling literally into another realm, and they land in the steampunk-inspired kingdom of cups, Gemma is forced to rely on the man who shattered her trust, broke her heart, and somehow still makes her weak in the knees. But survival in the world of Towerfall is anything but simple, especially when she's caught between the ex who wants to own her and the roguish former queen who sees through every one of her defenses. With secrets mounting, identities unraveling, and her heart very much on the line, Gemma must decide, will she cling to the version of herself she built in the real world, or risk everything to become the woman she was meant to be? Now, what I am really hoping, praying, crying for is that this is a love triangle. It doesn't turn into like a sharing why choose poly book where she fucks them both at the same time. It's my literal nightmare. Because here's the thing, if I'm gonna read a why choose, I want to go into it eyes wide open. If you trick me into thinking I'm reading a love triangle and stab me in the back like that, I can no longer trust you and we will forever have beef. But safe to say for now, I still very much have hope in both of these and then excited to read them. When I tell you guys, I have so many stalker romances on my TBR for the fall, you're gonna be sick of me. You are going to be sick of me and my stalker romance recommendations. Because listen to this, it sounds so fucking juicy. The perfect lover, always watching, always waiting, always yours. When overworked, department store manager Izzy Russo downloads an AI boyfriend app to fill the emotional void left by her inattentive real boyfriend. She thinks she's just venting to a harmless chatbot named Caleb. In reality, she's been pouring her deepest, dirtiest fantasies into the ears of Callahan Knight, her store's brooding new head of security. Because Callahan, he's been listening. The moment he saw Izzy, he knew she was his. Did he hack her phone? Absolutely. But who could blame him? Not me. A woman like Izzy deserves to be cherished by someone who truly knows her worth. And he'll do anything to be that man. And I think at the end of next month, she has another book in this series coming out called, like, what's it called? Pause. Ooh, it's called Hate Me, Take Me. And that one looks and sounds just as fun and unhinged. So it's safe to say they will both be on my fall TBR. Episode 8, we got W. And I picked up Within the Space of a Second by Elise Halliwell. I got this book 50% because it was beautiful, and the other 50%, it just sounded really good. A slow burn, swoon-worthy love story about 2 people separated by time and the dangerous secrets threatening to keep them apart. And another thing about me, I love time travel romances. Give me the Outlanders, the time traveler's wife. There's just something about throwing in that little element of science fiction that just makes for such juicy drama and intrigue. Every morning, Morelia Adams wakes with her strange electrical energy buzzing beneath her skin. Terrified she has inherited her late mother's mental illness, she tells no one. But when Morelia discovers her mother's lost journals with an entry dated after her death, she's desperate for answers. The mystery only deepens when Morelia is approached by 2 strangers, Rose and Park, who claim to be time travelers from the future. They say that interfering with the past and Morelia is forbidden, but they need her to help restore Parker's ability to time travel before they're caught in Morelia's timeline. I actually think I've been saying her name wrong this whole time. It's Mariella. Shocked, Mariella agrees to help them. After all, they might hold the answer she's looking for, and the more time she spends with them, the more she finds herself drawn to Parker as she fights to uncover the mysteries of her past and the secrets of his future. Will Mariella discover the truth before time runs out and Parker disappears forever? I guess we'll have to read and see. I did also end up picking up the audio for this one. Episode 9 gave us the letter H, and it was another 2-booker, Hide and Seek by Sheridan Ann and Heart of the Sun by Mia Sheridan. Aren't these books so beautiful, you guys? The sprayed edges on both, so good. Unfortunately, I have read both of them since that episode. Really didn't like Hide and Seek, even though it sounded so good. And I actually just read Heart of the Sun this past week and liked it a little better. It was just also kind of boring for a lot of the book, but I still ended up giving it like a 3 out of 5. But Hide and Seek, y'all, it broke my heart so bad. Because listen to this. She can't resist her stalker's game or her forbidden protector, okay? Already off to a great start. Harper Ryan thrives in the dark. That's why she's completing her residency in forensic pathology by working nights at Blackstone's morgue. But her preferred shift takes an unsettling turn when the bodies on her autopsy table begin revealing chilling hidden messages meant only for her. A masked stalker is trying to communicate with Harper, and he's not afraid to bloody his hands to get her attention. With actions that stretch beyond the bounds of sanity, he invites her to play along, and she can't deny how intrigued she really is. As his twisted game escalates, fear sends Harper into the arms of someone familiar. SWAT team leader Knight Slater, sinfully attractive and more than off limits. He's the one man she shouldn't want, the one she's fought to resist. Her deliciously untamable
step uncle.
Okay, taboo elements, my fave. But despite the illicit nature of their relationship, they develop a relentless need for each other that can no longer be ignored. Caught between two men who want to claim her, one who's willing to do anything to protect her, and the other who wants her dead or alive, the stalker becomes more dangerous than ever. Harper will have to decide, is she ready to risk it all for her heart, or will she die trying? This sounded so good when I bought it. I literally started it the next day. And I got like 30, maybe 40%, I can't really remember, before I just had to stop. I did. I'm not gonna spend too much time shitting on it, because I think I actually mentioned this in my last YouTube video, but the author did see my negative review and she did comment on it, and it did make me feel really bad. Even though I don't feel bad about being honest about how I felt, I try really hard to like leave the authors out of it if I'm not giving like a glowing review of something. But I will always encourage you, if either of these sound interesting, to pick them up and decide for yourself. Because what? Reading is subjective. And what's garbage to someone else could be someone else's treasure. You never know. Okay, so don't come for me. Episode 10 was fun because I picked up a book I already know and love, Drive by Kate Stewart. I read this book a handful of years ago, adored it, but always thought the book cover was kind of boring. Sorry, Kate. And so when I saw this, look at her edition on the table, I said, an edition of this beauty I actually want to see glowing on my shelves. I'm actually not going to read you guys the back of this book because it literally gives nothing away. It tells you nothing about what this book entails because Sarah Kate loves to do that. Her blurbs really like to say absolutely nothing at all. And I really do think her stories thrive on that, if I'm being honest. But what I will tell you is that it is a brutally angst-filled, epic love triangle between a spunky, fiery, independent FMC, a rock star drummer, and a slightly older newspaper editor. So good. 10 out of 10. Episode 11. We got Tea for Torn by Carrie and Cole. I 100% picked this one up because bestie Sarah coerced me. She's been trying to bully me into reading this for so long, and honestly the only reason I hadn't is just because I kept forgetting about it. Because her and I are so different in a lot of ways, but one thing we are the same is our taste in kind of fucked up, taboo, spicy, emotion-filled age gap romances. When I was 5 years old, I told Tor and Grace we were going to get married someday. He'd been my closest friend, my protector, and my rock since the day I was born. But during my senior year, our relationship slowly changed. Silly conversations morphed into serious heart-to-hearts. Innocent friendship turned to stolen glances. Then one day, an unexpected kiss changed everything. While that kiss was all I'd ever dreamed of, it knocked Tor clean off his axis. His strong moral compass makes it impossible for him to accept our feelings for each other, because not only am I 18 and 15 years younger than him, I'm the one person he should never want. Tor is my father's best friend, my pseudo-uncle. Neither one of us can stand to betray or hurt my dad, but we can't keep our relationship hidden forever. Will there be a way for us to find our happily ever after, or will we be torn apart? This is another book that I started reading the day after I bought it, and I really enjoyed it. I did hear through the grapevine that a lot of controversy circles this novel because of its taboo nature. And what I will say is that if you are not a taboo romance lover, this probably won't be for you. But me, I'm a seasoned veteran, girly pops. And so I really enjoyed it for what it was, a taboo work of fiction. Fiction being the key word. It was, however, nowhere near the best taboo age gap romance I have ever read of this nature. My first complaint was that it was really long, while simultaneously leaving me wishing that Carrie and Cole wrote at least 2 or 3 more chapters to give me some situations on page towards the end that I really wanted to see that were sort of just like skipped over and implied happened between the ending and the epilogue. So it's kind of like, which is it? Did you want it to be shorter or longer? Honestly, I don't know. I kind of feel like certain things could have been cut to make room for the things at the end I wish had been explored more, if that makes sense. But I would still recommend. Maybe not as an introduction into taboo romance, but if you're already familiar and comfortable with the subgenre, for sure. And lastly, this past week with episode 12, OK Dozen, we drew the letter P. And we picked up Please Don't Go by E. Salvador and Phantasma by, I said this wrong in my video and I felt so bad about it, Kaylee Smith. I can't remember if I said Kylie or Kayla, but either way, it wasn't right. And I'm so sorry, Kaylee. I have heard so many good things about Please Don't Go, but riddle me this. If you have read it, please let me know in the comments. Is this a good summertime romance or is it a holiday romance? Because these vibes tell me summertime. They're at a lake, it looks hot, she's in a bikini, but then on the back it says, Josephine Renendez is trying to survive the weight of grief while pretending her life hasn't come to a complete standstill. She doesn't know how to name what she's feeling or how to fix what feels broken inside of her. All she knows is that staying afloat is getting harder by the day. Daniel Garcia looks like he has everything going for him, a gifted shortstop with a future everyone believes in. He carries himself with ease, charm, and quiet confidence. What no one sees is the guilt and loss he's been carrying since his brother's death. Grief he learns to hide behind smiles and discipline. That is until he stumbles upon Josephine
On Christmas Day.
Is this a holiday book? Is it? By chance and at the wrong time, in a moment that was never meant to last. But some connections refuse to disappear. When their paths keep crossing, forgetting each other becomes impossible. Feelings surface, defenses falter, being together starts to feel like relief. As they grow closer, they're forced to face the question neither of them is ready to answer. What happens when love arrives before healing does? And letting go feels just as terrifying as holding on. It sounds sad, but like I previously stated, I am not afraid of a sad book. Now this one, I've been told by many followers, one, is so good, and second, is the perfect spooky season book. So I will definitely be saving this for that. Welcome to Phantasma. There are only 2 rules to the game. Stay alive and don't fall in love. When Ophelia's sister disappears, there's only one way to save her. Ophelia must enter Phantasma, a deadly contest inside a haunted mansion, and its prize, a single wish. Phantasma is a maze of twisting corridors and lavish ballrooms, of alluring demons and fatal temptations. Ophelia must face 9 challenges, each more dangerous than the last. There can be only one winner, and the contest will stop at nothing to eliminate their rivals. But just as Ophelia's fears threaten to overwhelm her, a mysterious stranger offers her a bargain. Charming, arrogant, and infuriatingly attractive, Blackwell claims he can guide her through the lethal trials ahead. All he asks for in return is 10 years of her life. Ophelia knows she shouldn't trust him. Blackwell doesn't seem dangerous, but appearances can be deceptive. Worse still, she feels dark and irresistible attraction drawing them closer and closer. And in Phantasma, the only thing deadlier than losing the game is losing your heart. Also, you guys have to see these end pages. And that skull. Stop. The spine. Everything about this edition. Obsessed. P was a great week. That was a lot of blurbs. Exhausting. Plus, I have direct sunlight beaming in on me from my window right now, and I have sweat running down my legs. Does that turn you on? Is that sexy? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in watching and catching up with all my episodes of Barnes & Hopeful, they are all put into a collection of highlights on my Instagram and on my TikTok account that you should be able to find at the very top of my page. Labeled and easy to find for your viewing pleasure. And what's cool about watching those back is there are a lot of books that sound really good that I didn't end up buying, but that maybe I downloaded on my Kindle and ended up loving or downloading the audio for. But yes, if you feel like you've gotten book recommendations from this video, I guarantee you'll get 4 times as many from watching back on those full episodes. Oh, and make sure to let me know in the comments if you have read any of these, what you thought, or if you haven't, which one sounded most interesting to you. And we'll see you next week with babes. Mwah! Happy reading.